Namesdays are basically the day, so each year there's like, each day has sort of like a list of saints. Sorry, how to explain this. Hello, my name's Ketevan. Welcome back to my channel. So this video, as you might have guessed from the title, is going to be a little book haul of all the books that I got for my Namesday. So this was actually inspired by a video that Becky from Teacup the Storyteller posted. I saw that she had posted a Namesday book haul and I clicked on it immediately because I was like, oh, that's so nice. Like, that's so smart. And it gave me two ideas. One, you can ask for books for your Namesday. Like, it never occurred to me to do that because usually my parents just send me a little something they pick out because it's more important to them, I think, than to me. But this year I was with them on a family trip and I realized, like, oh, I could ask for books, and like I did, and my mother bought me some nice books. And then the second thing was that, as Becky pointed out, I think she's right. A lot of people don't know what a Namesday is, and that's a shame because it's a really fun little extra bonus kind of birthday and it's super fun to have. So Namesdays are basically the day, so each year there's like, each day has sort of like a list of saints. Sorry, how to explain this. Like, as she was explaining it and from the comments on her video, I was like really surprised that like a lot of people had never even heard of it. And I guess that makes sense since obviously I grew up with it. It kind of seems normal to me. But yeah, apparently most people don't know about it. So again, this is a nice opportunity to sort of like share a little bit about my culture and, like, you know, things that are normal for me that maybe not are normal for most other people. But anyway, so Namesdays I think are mostly celebrated in, I think, every Eastern Orthodox church. So originally everything was kind of like, you know, the one Catholic church, I suppose, and then the Catholic church broke apart from Eastern Orthodox churches, and now there are a bunch of different Orthodox churches, I think by country usually, and that's why they call it Eastern Orthodox, because they're all Eastern countries that are still Orthodox. And then there's the Roman Catholic Church, and then of course later in history with, like, you know, modern Western European history, we have Protestantism and other, like, you know, sects of Christianity. But basically I think all Eastern Orthodox churches still celebrate Namesdays. And as Becky pointed out, sometimes it's even by country. Like, if a country was traditionally Eastern Orthodox, even if the people themselves aren't religious, it'll still be like a thing. And I can't really comment on that because I've never lived in one of those countries, but for me it's always been like a very religious thing because I grew up in the United States, so obviously it's not a thing here. But it's for my family, or at least my father, it's a bigger deal than your birthday. So it was always like considered a big like special thing. I don't think any of us kids ever like thought of it that way, but my dad definitely does. And so the presents were reflected accordingly. And we always got a very nice Namesday gift, and we still get them. More token gifts, I think, now that we're adults. But I realized when we were on a trip, I realized I can ask for books for Namesday, so that's what I did. So for the first book I'm going to share, actually, my partner bought for me because I was like, which one should I ask for from my mother? And he was like, well, I'll buy you one. So it was very sweet of him. So this is Finding the Mother Tree, Discovering the Wisdom of the Forest by Suzanne Simard. And this one actually I had on hold from the library, I think for months, like literally months. And I just kept, you know how on Libby, does anyone else do this? Like, you have a bunch of holds and like you just can't handle them all, so you're always like postponing them. And then just you realize some books are just always going to be postponed. So at that point in my life, I felt like I had to prioritize books I already had. So this was a book I didn't own, obviously. And so I just kept postponing it and postponing it. And I think after like the 10th postponement, I was like, look, do I really want to read this book? Like, probably not if I keep clicking postpone on Libby instead of just like picking it up and reading it. And then of course, like a month or two later, I was like, oh, I'm still thinking about it. Should I put another hold on? Like, what? And then like 6 months later, I was like still thinking about it. And then, so I saw this in the bookstore and I was like, it's a sign. Like, I'm meant to own this book. I'm meant to read this book. I think I'm gonna love it. Like, I obviously wanted to read it for a reason. But basically, this is one of the, I think, several books now that sort of describe how trees actually communicate with each other underground through mycelial networks and just their root system, and how they, you know, can warn each other of damage or disease coming, and how they can like send extra nutrients to sick or young trees, and just like kind of how they operate very similarly to living animals and other and even human culture. So I think it'll be super interesting, and it's like sort of formatted in a similar, if you've read like if you've read Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, it's in a very similar format. So she sort of interweaves her own personal stories in through with the science writing. So I'm really looking forward to that one. And then the next 1, 2, 3, 4 books are all from my mother. We found a really great used bookstore that I thought had an amazing format. So it looked like a new bookstore. Everything in there was like sort of pristine and beautiful, all very nice copies, and everything was laid out as if it was a new bookstore. But obviously there was only one copy of each book, so that's how you could kind of tell it was used. And there were no like price stickers on anything. It was just half off the sticker price. And so I thought that was brilliant because it kind of like reduces a lot of the work you have to put into like pricing and all that stuff. So anyway, I don't know if anyone's ever been to a bookstore that's done that, but I thought it was super brilliant. So anyway, the first book I picked up was the Country Girls trilogy by Edna O'Brien. So I'd never heard of this, but then I saw that Kim from Middle of the Book March was doing, or had just finished, I think, a buddy read with Britta Bowler, and I was like super intrigued because I love Irish literature. I have a whole bunch of Irish literature that I've read and I still want to read. And so this seems like a classic almost, I think, at this point. It seems very similar to the Neapolitan novels. So it's like two women friends sort of growing up and like how they handle their lives and things like that. So I'm really interested in this one. Can't wait to get to that. And then the next one is Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stewart. This is his debut novel, and I think I've heard more about him through Young Mungo, which is like his, I think, second novel that's sort of been buzzing around lately. But I actually first heard about this book from Ben on Doom Antidote, and he kind of convinced me it was worth it. Worth it because like him, I also do not enjoy a lot of trauma porn in my books. Like, it's nice, like 1 or 2 books, but like you can't just read it over and over again. It's kind of just like excessive. And he said even though it was a little bit trauma porn in the beginning, it was like still a great book and it was gripping. So I was like, I had it on my radar ever since then, a very long time, and I just hadn't bought it, and so now I have my own copy. So perfect. And then the last 2 were just picked up as part of my Nobel laureate reading project because it's, you know, it's very easy to find used Nobel laureate winners because there's lots of copies out there. So the first one is July's People by Nadine Gordimer. She's a white South African author. She won, I think, quite a while ago, and I had like looked through all her books on Goodreads, and I decided that this one was the book I would probably enjoy the most from her, and so I just have it on my radar. If I see it used somewhere, I'm gonna pick it up, and I guess it must be pretty good because I've never found it used anywhere except for now. So I found it used in that used bookstore, and my mother luckily bought it for me as a gift. So now I have it ready to go. And this next one, I actually already have a book by, or a play by him rather, but I realized I wasn't reading it. I'm not like in a play mood, and maybe I don't know, I thought he's a playwright, so I should read a play, but he's also a novelist, he's also a poet. But anyway, I'm not sure exactly how to say his name. It's Wole, and then it's, some pronunciations are Soyinka and some are Shoyinka. So I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but he is a Nigerian Nobel Prize winner, and he is like super prolific. Like, I think he's published over 100 different things, essay collections, poetry, theater, novels, like everything you can think of. He's published like multiple in that genre. So this is one of his novels, and I have actually, oh, there's my bookmark from Below the Brine Bookshop, which is where I got this from. This one I think is a relatively new book by him. When did this get published? Oh yeah, so this is like, this was published in 2020 originally. So this is actually probably maybe even his latest book. And it was like on sale, and it's like gorgeous hardcover. So I was like really happy to find it. About an entrepreneur in Nigeria selling stolen body parts from the hospital to use in ritualistic practices. Chronicles from the land of the happiest people on earth is at once a literary hoot, a crafty whodunit, and a scathing indictment of political and social corruption. It is a stirring call to arms against the abuse of power from one of our fiercest political activists, who also happens to be a global literary giant. So yeah, like, there's no reason I'm not gonna love this book as far as I can tell. So I was really excited to find such a nice copy. So yeah, Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth. Really looking forward to reading that one. And then hopefully I'll also read that play I have of his, that I'm just not reading plays right now. I'm like not in a play mood. So we'll see how that goes as well. But anyway, so those are the 6 books, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so those are the 5 books I got for my Namesday. If you've read any of them, please let me know and tell me your thoughts on them. And I know probably people will have questions about what Namesdays are and how they work. I'll try to answer them as much as I can. Basically, I mean, you just get a cake and a small present and a little family party. It's nothing like super dramatic, but it is fun. It's like a nice little, you know, extra bonus holiday. And since my birthday is really close to Christmas, it is nice sort of having something a little bit, you know, in the middle of the year rather than just having everything all in December. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to put them down below and I'll try my best to answer. More than likely, I'll just ask my dad and he'll provide the answer via me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, bye.